Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Good morning, Sacramento. Welcome to the Saturday HOA Brunch. I'm excited to be back in the studio.
Back in the studio,
yeah,
right.
Last week we did a little replay, and you were out surfing and scuba diving in Hawaii and drinking pina coladas,
out
having
in
a
Maui.
good time with the family.
Fantastic.
What'd you guys do out there?
Oh, we boogie boarded. We went on the road to Hana. That was a lot of fun.
Anybody
and swam with the turtles. It's great. If anyone has the opportunity to do that. And it was really interesting. We talked with some people over there about their condominium associations. There are actually in the Sacramento area 5 managers community association managers who used to work in Hawaii as community association managers.
And what was the reason that they left that beautiful island to come to Northern California with this heat wave?
Yeah, no kidding.
And drought.
And I think that what happens is that after living on the islands, it's a small space, right? And so you want to come to the big cities. I think that's it.
The mainland?
Yeah, I think you just kind of get sick of such a small area.
Yeah, get on these crowded freeways and look at all these dead lawns. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
No.
But the heat was bad this week. It was over triple digits. I think they're going for a new record like 8 days in a row. Today will be like the 9th day. So I'm glad to be in these beautiful air-conditioned KTKZ studios so that we can bring to you the Saturday HOA Brunch, the power hour of Community Association Talk Radio. Last 2 weeks we played the episodes about the hot topic that's going to be on the ballot in November, the ganja and its recreational use.
Well, yeah, really, it's the problem is that the smoke from cigarettes and from the
pot,
right? It transfers from one unit to another. In fact, it is. We are talking about that, how it's a hot issue, and really, I am dealing with that on really more and more frequently. Again, this week had to deal with the issue about smoke.
Everyone's talking
inundating
about it.
Other homes, right?
I was fortunate enough on a Wednesday evening to be in a nice, cool, air-conditioned room, and I can see it across the street from here. The Hilton and partner Susana Sendejas put on a big board training seminar with one of our friends that used to be one of those managers from Hawaii, Mr. Brad Higgins.
Right.
And here we go, question and answer. All the hands raised in the back of the room, and everybody says, what are we going to do about that pot in November? Because we're already starting to have issues with it. And then I was at another great industry event yesterday for the Bay Area Central Chapter of the Community Associations Institute, and it was cool. It was called Summer Vacation, so everybody was dressed up in like they were either going to go camping or they were headed to Hawaii or they were on some tropical island. And you went around and you talked with different managers from community association management companies in the Bay Area, and you had like 7 minutes, and they rang the buzzer, you stood up, and you moved on to the next one. But that issue came up again. I was with the Velvet Sledgehammer, as some refer to her as, managing partner Julie Mauser. She was my partner in crime yesterday at the event, and a couple of managers asked her the same question. So I'm glad we got to play that episode 2 weeks in a row, because it's definitely a hot topic.
It is a hot topic. And if you'd like to go ahead and join us in our conversation today, just call in at 888-923-1380. Text line is 916-747-4622, 916-747-4622. So we did get a couple of texts over the week, and we're going to go ahead and add those texts to our topics today. But primarily, what are we going to talk about today, Jonathan?
Recording meetings.
Audio recording, board meetings, member meetings, executive sessions, committee meetings, and we're going to talk a little bit about the required disclosures that associations must make to requesting owners for meeting minutes. And we're going to weave into the conversation also about the text that we got in, which is a couple different interesting topics. One of them being,
hey Brad, how was Hawaii?
Emails among board members. Really confusing subject because, heck, we do so much of our work and our communication, we as in everybody, by email, right,
Yeah,
Jonathan?
but I don't delete any of my work emails from the company server. I just want to let you know they're all there. If the IT guy or you guys need to access them, I have them all. They're not missing.
Well, that's good to know. And welcome to episode 73. This is KTKZ The Answer, 1380. Again, you could call in at 888-923-1380 or text us at 916-747-4622.
All right. Well, so audio recorded board meetings and member meetings. That's the topic today. Where do you want to start?
Well, before we get to that, before we get to our main topic, let's address the text. And it's what happens is that we do so much communication by email amongst each other that it becomes really commonplace. And it's convenient and efficient. And so board members ask me, why can't we go ahead and make our board decisions by email? We need to do that as board members because we're busy and we have decisions to make. And a lot of the decisions, they take some analysis, a little back and forth amongst board members. And Jonathan, what the law says is that the board decisions, they're needing to be made in board meetings.
Because
the owners are allowed to attend, and it's the Open Meeting Act. That's the Davis-Sterling Open Meeting Act. So the question is, may boards discuss or make decisions about association business by email? May boards discuss or make decisions about association business by email?
I say no.
And the answer is no. You're right.
Unless it's an emergency, right?
There's three exceptions.
There
exactly.
are some exceptions.
So,
sorry, I didn't want to go off topic.
You're right on the money. If there's an emergency and the board members unanimously agree to make the decision by email, then they could go ahead and they could make the decision by email. Once they unanimously agree to make the decision by email, then they can go ahead and vote, and it'll be majority rules regarding the decision.
But you still have to have a quorum in the email.
You still have to have a quorum in an email. You still have to have a quorum to make a board decision. Exactly.
So you can't just have 2 out of the 5 exchanging emails trying to make this decision. You'd have to include everyone.
Yeah. Well, that's where the
on the
unanimity.
board of directors, right?
Right. That's the unanimity. That's where the unanimity comes in. In fact, so how about an example? So, let's say there is an emergency at an association. It is, say, litigation. We need to inform our attorney of whether the association is going to settle in a lawsuit, right? Nowadays, most cases are settled. Most court cases are settled. What do you think the percentage of cases being settled rather than going to jury or bench trial are, Jonathan?
97.8%.
You'd already know, exactly.
97.8.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank.
Above 97%, and this has been consistent for 30 years, really, and
that long?
Yeah, Jonathan, why do you suppose that most court cases get settled rather than go to trial?
I think in regards to, is that all court cases, or I was throwing out a statistic on what I thought community association court cases settle.
Same as it's actually across the board, but we're talking about civil as opposed to criminal.
Civil, I think that these cases settle because the courts are just too crowded. And then the judge says, you know what, you guys, I've got all the information. Thanks a lot. We're busy. You guys need to hire somebody else, and you need to go back into a little air-conditioned room, and you guys need to come to your own resolution. You guys need to, hire, what do they have, the rent of judges and all that good stuff? And mediators, and
arbitrators.
And say, you know what, guys, we don't have time for a trial because you can smell so-and-so baking every day, and you're mad because their dog's pooping on your lawn. Like, you guys go handle it on your own, and we're going to, hear what your resolution is, and then I'll sign off on it.
Oh, I got you. So it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
But it's also a matter of money as well.
And it's expensive to go to trial.
When we come back, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the other 2 exceptions to the rule that boards may not discuss or make decisions about association business by email.
13 million Californians live in community associations. Do you? Homeowner participation makes your association a community and a better place to live. You can go to board meetings, run for a position on your board, join your chapter of the Community Associations Institute, and even participate on the California Legislative Action Committee. For more information, visit caiclac.com. caiclac.com. Your community's voice at the Capitol.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Is this music is nowhere near the music you listened to last night, right?
Music's radical.
What was it? John
Mayer
and who? Dead and Company.
Dead and Company.
How was it? No, that's not what's playing, Frank. Well, how was it? Was it a good show?
It was.
Really? Nice. All right. Do you want to get back to business? And
Back to business. Okay. So, may boards discuss or make decisions about association business by email? We said that the answer is no, except there are 3 exceptions. The first one, if there is an emergency. And what is an emergency? What is an emergency? Well, the law provides exactly what an emergency is. So, it is, again, the Davis-Sterling Act, Civil Code Section 4923, and it is when there are circumstances that could not have been reasonably foreseen, which require immediate attention and possible action by the board, and which of necessity make it impracticable to provide notice as required by law. So it's basically 3 components to determine whether there's an emergency. One is it's a surprise. Something comes up that's a surprise. The tree that fell over onto the clubhouse could not have been reasonably foreseen. It requires immediate attention. the tree needs to be taken off the clubhouse.
Yeah, or a vehicle.
Immediate attention.
I've seen that before. A tree falls on a carport, crushes a vehicle. It's like,
yeah,
we got, nobody else can pull out of the lot because there's an oak tree that's blocking traffic.
Definitely requires immediate attention. In that example, it could not have been reasonably foreseen. It was some storm or something like that, and which of necessity make it impracticable to provide notice as required by law. The notice required by law is 4 days for regular board meeting, 2 days for executive sessions, 4 days for regular board meeting. So that's the notice that must be posted in the common area. And so if you have all those three elements, then you have an emergency, and the board of directors then can go ahead and agree unanimously to make the decision by email rather than having a meeting where the owners could attend or at least be notified of it if it's an executive session issue.
Now, some associations, larger associations maybe that are a little bit more, they're better off financially. Their reserves are healthy and things of that nature. They might actually have something in their rules or CC&Rs or in their contract where they just give authorization to the manager to make a decision, right? So
there you go. Well,
for example, if they say, you know what, anything under $3,500, here's our list of contractors. If something comes up, just go ahead and just take care of it and handle it so that we don't have to be bothered with it. And in that instance, that could be a situation where there's an emergency, and if your management contract or your governing documents authorize the manager to just make a decision for a certain monetary amount. You've seen that too, right?
That'd be in the contract between the association and the management company, and that's the second exception. The second exception to the law that boards must discuss and make decisions about association business in actual meetings rather than email, and this is when the board has delegated to someone other than the board, for example, less than a quorum of board members, or to the manager to make decisions about the matter. So in this case, you're saying, well, the contract between the association management company and the association provides that the manager has discretion when in order to spend a certain amount of money up to a certain limit, and you threw out $3,500, which is probably a little bit high for that I've seen in most management companies contracts between the association and management. But in that case, it's the discretion is then delegated to the manager to spend amount of money on something. In that case, then all the board members, they can go ahead and they could email back and forth on the issue because they're not restricted to discussing, hearing, deliberating about the issue in an actual meeting. They can
because
do it by
it's
email.
the type of issue that they're discussing.
Right.
Now, my question
Right.
would be, obviously, they have a fiduciary duty where they can't discuss in emails what happened in an executive session or a disciplinary hearing, right? They're not supposed to talk about that.
That's right.
There's a kibosh on that.
That's disclosure of confidential communications, disclosure by board members of executive session communications. Right. Without the authority of the board, boards can't do that. Now, how about to finish this up and to get on to recording meetings, the last exception is that board members, they may discuss association business by email if less than a quorum of board members are communicating. There must be a quorum of board members to constitute a board meeting. Therefore, if less than a quorum of board members are communicating about association business, it does not constitute a board meeting. So we have the three exceptions to the rule, the law, that boards must discuss or make decisions about association business in meetings rather than email. 1, emergency. 2, delegation. 3, less than a quorum of board members.
Wow. I mean, that was pretty nice of you for
Yeah.
that whole segment for the texter. Thanks
I
for
like
the
the
text.
subject.
Yeah, Sheila
Yeah.
and Carmichael, thanks for that text. We appreciate it. We hope that we answered that question for you.
If not, I'm sure she'll let us know.
Yeah. Just send us another text or call the office next week. All right. Back to the topic of the day.
The topic of the day is audio recording of board and member meetings. So the issue comes up typically in a contentious atmosphere. And what's a good example that I've experienced is when
you have a nuisance in the open, right? The audience, or not of the membership, the person that comes up there every month and wants to just wreak havoc on the board of directors and might be a problem for the board to operate. Maybe you could utilize it as a tool and just say, well, you know what, sir, we're going to start recording open forum, so we want to let you know, and then maybe they'll pump the brakes a little bit before they are obnoxious.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that is the issue of whether a board can record their own meetings, where the board of directors can record their audio record their board meetings. So let's stick to that one. The example is board members recording their own board meeting. And is that permissible? Is that permissible?
I don't know. I'm asking
Sure it
you,
is.
Counselor.
Yeah, sure it is. Absolutely. And so it's not very common. And so in your example, you want to record the open forum. And so the open forum is the period of time at or before a board meeting where the owners can get up and make comments.
And I've seen some owners that get up there and are obnoxious and rude, and they just drag the meeting out. And so I'm saying, if I was a board of directors, maybe I could utilize it. But obviously, I'd probably have to tell everyone before the meeting started, hey, we want to let everybody know that we're recording our meetings now in our open forums. But maybe you could use it as a deterrent, audio recording.
You're using it as a sword to what? to what? Shorten?
Weed out the crazies. Yeah.
Weed out the crazies. That's good. That's good. So, what people typically think about when they think about recording in the legal field, recording someone else, doing audio recording, one person audio recording someone else, is California Penal Code Section 632. And Section 632 of the California Penal Code. So we're outside of the Davis-Sterling Act.
Yeah, there's a big one right now. I don't know, you were in Hawaii, but Kim Kardashian got some video of one of Kanye's producers recording Taylor Swift, and she didn't know she was being recorded.
Okay.
Sorry, side story. I don't want to get off
and
topic here.
What?
I don't know what's going to happen now, but everybody in the media is trying to snowball it into this huge story that's going to turn into probably a big lawsuit.
Really? Was it during a board meeting?
No, it was during like a recording session at a hip-hop studio.
Okay.
Yeah, not the KTKZ studio, somewhere else, Southern California.
Not 1380.
No, unfortunately. Sorry, now back to this California
Penal Code.
Penal Code, yeah.
Section 632. It provides that it's a crime to record other person's confidential communications without their consent. It's a crime to record other person's confidential communications without their consent, right? Surreptitiously recording someone else. So, or just in your case, you're basically saying the board's saying the board of directors, we are deciding that we're going to record our meetings.
It's in our rules. It's in our rules. We re-record all of our meetings so that we can utilize it as a tool to reference back to if we need to.
Okay, so is that a violation of California Penal Code Section 632 for the board of directors to record the open forum without the members' consent?
Well, they have to have the members' consent.
They do? All right, so I think the answer to that question is the members give their consent to being recorded simply by going to the meeting, because it's the board's decision whether to record or not. It's within the board of directors' authority. You'll have like a bylaw provision. They'll state something similar to the business and affairs of the association will be vested in and exercised by the association's board, including, in particular, all powers and duties set forth in the Declaration, which is the CCNRs and other governing documents. The board of directors, they have the power in community associations whether to record their own meetings. Now, what's another reason why a board of directors would want to record their own meetings?
Well,
how about
I don't know. The most important thing is using it as a tool of reference. I think that. Well, what happens if you have say you have a member that comes back and he tries to sue you? Okay, he says, well, you know what?
To sue the board of directors?
Yeah, he wants
to sue the association?
Sue the association because he feels like the contractor hired inadequately repaired the exterior of his unit. Now the window's leaking. Well, when you talked about the contract and the scope of work or what was going to be done, unfortunately, there wasn't going to be any dry rot repairs done. It was a painting project.
Okay.
But the crazy thinks, well, when you guys said major construction, I thought you guys meant you were going to fix everything.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay.
They're not going to win in court or anything like that, but you could kibosh it real quick and just say, well, here's the recording. Remember, we said it was a painting project. It wasn't a full-scale reconstruction project, so why don't you listen to this?
And now the board of directors is using recording meetings as a shield, not a sword.
Yeah, a shield.
Well, let's talk about that when we get back.
All right.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com, or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
I live in a planned community, and one day I decided to go to a board meeting. I was so surprised to see all the ways in which I could get involved. Now, I don't have time to run for the board right now, but I found great information at caiclac.com, and now I participate on the California Legislative Action Committee. Why don't you check out caiclac.com and see how you can get involved? caiclac.com, your community's voice at the Capitol.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Tuned in. Who is that? Frank, who is that? Is it really? I'm too young for the Grateful Dead. Is that the Grateful Dead? Can you confirm that? There you go. They were in town
Confirmed.
last night. All right, so
And there were very many young people.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make it out there. Sorry.
All right, so if you want to join the conversation, it's 888-923-1380. Text us at 916-747-4622, 747-4622. This is KTKZ The Answer, 1380, episode 73.
And now we're talking about the board using audio recordings as a shield, not
shield.
a sword.
As a sword. So, yeah, your example of the board of directors using audio recordings of their board meetings as a sword, very creative, and that is to try and suppress the owners from making comments at open forum. Yeah, sure, some open forum periods are pretty darn long, and it is required by law. And board of directors, though, they can put time limits on open forum. They can both do there's two ways of doing a time limit. It could be, okay, we're going to have open forum for only 15 minutes or half an hour. Or we're going to limit owners to 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, apiece. So different ways of doing it. Now, as a shield, so you're saying a homeowner is threatening a board of directors with a lawsuit. And your example was the homeowner says, board of directors, you are supposed to take care of dry rot on my home? Did you say?
Well, they didn't interpret what was going on with a contract from a vendor that the board of directors and the manager were utilizing to spruce up the community. And they thought that they were going to replace the full elevation of
their home, of their townhome, huh?
Of their townhome, of the siding, right?
Yeah.
And then they had a little issue that was unrelated to the construction, but they say, well, you guys just did all this construction and painting, and now I have this issue. I want you guys to go ahead or I'm going to sue you.
Yeah, you
right?
did. You promised me to do the full elevation, and I remember at that board meeting that I went to, you guys said we're going to go in, we're going to do the full elevations.
And then they come back and they say, the shield, right? The board of directors, they go, okay, and they go to their audio files, fancy technology. Manager prints it out, burns it on a CD, brings it back, and goes, you don't remember where we said that it was just spot replacement?
And here you are with the audio recording, huh?
And there you are, case closed.
All right. Well, couldn't the board of directors just show the board meeting minutes?
They could, but why not utilize this great technology that we have? I mean, they could send them like an MP3 file, the manager to the homeowner, just do. Remember this? Pause it right there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
By email.
Over there.
Everything's by email, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, well, I see. So using it as a shield. Well, that would be very atypical. Pretty unusual to do that. If, in fact, what I've seen, if boards do record their meetings, they typically will record them so their meeting minutes can be accurate. So their meeting minutes can be accurate. And then once they have made the meeting minutes, once they drafted them and approved them, then the boards will destroy the old recordings. And why do they do that? Because there's different reasons. It's the fear of having the recording used against them is really why the problem.
Well, I didn't say they can't go back and edit the recordings the following week, right?
And
is that the text line?
It is. Now, for years, the issue also was that audio recordings, might not accurately show what was stated because they were unclear.
And notes on a piece of paper?
Well, the audio quality wasn't sufficient, was commonly thought, in order for that tape to accurately reflect what occurred. Ambient noises, owners discussing and who said what, kind of hard to tell as well. In courtrooms don't use audio recordings.
Yeah, they have the little gal there with the...
What is that?
The court
Who
reporter?
is that? Who is that gal?
The court reporter?
The court reporter, right?
Yeah, and they are just typing away on that weird little machine, computer. I don't know what it is, but it's like...
Stenographic.
Is that what it's called?
They're stenographers. Court reporter stenographers. Right. And so what will, in courts, and I think the court reporting stenographer lobby is really strong as far as keeping that tradition, but it's unusual for courts to have audio recordings.
Or video, right?
In fact, or video recordings. It is all
is that
done
why they still
stenographically.
Have the artists too now? They show the drawings of the courtrooms when they show those great like pastel or colored pencil pictures of all of the plaintiffs and attorneys and judges. What do they call that?
Oh, you're talking about
the court artists?
Courtroom artists who will go ahead and draw pictures of the different parties in cases, and then you'll used to see that
on the news. They'll
news.
show it. Here you go. Look at this picture. Is there a position like a stenographer or court reporter? Is there a fancy title for those guys? Has anyone ever drawn a picture of you in court?
I think the title is court reporter or stenographer.
No, for the artist.
Oh, the artist. I'm sorry. I was reading the text.
No, all right. Is it a good one?
If you record meetings, so if you audio record meetings, do you have to transcribe to written minutes, or is the audio recording sufficient? If you record meetings, do you have to transcribe to written meeting minutes, or is the audio recording sufficient? Jonathan, what is the answer? Is it sufficient for the board of directors to say our meeting minutes are in audio recordation form?
Absolutely not.
It's not. You're correct. So the law provides that there must be an actual meeting minute that can be transmitted delivered to requesting owners and stored in that way. So, great question, though.
It is.
And yeah, you don't know what the future is going to lie in community association law. That might be changed, but currently, no, it is not sufficient to have an audio recording. So thank you so much for that text.
You know what? I think, and I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but that is someone that really is concerned about our industry going green. Just like the people that say they want to be able to have meetings via email, they don't want to have to worry about physical meeting minutes.
A function of saving the environment.
Yeah. Could you imagine how many trees there are that have been cut down because of meeting minutes? We won't go down that road.
Well, yeah, and you need to keep those meeting minutes forever. Meeting minutes are one of the documents that associations must keep forever, the life of the corporation. All right, so we've talked a little bit about board members recording meetings and board meetings. And is there any difference with, Jonathan, in your mind, with member meetings? So the difference between a member meeting and a board meeting is a member meeting is actually a meeting among all the members. It is not for board decisions, and typically there are not decisions made, not many, and it is typically the annual meeting, right?
So hopefully there's a pool and a barbecue and music and a lot of camaraderie in the community.
Attract those members to come to the annual member meeting.
Get them out.
The decisions that are made at those are typically, though I did misspeak, the decisions are the all-important decision of electing board members.
Yeah, that's why you want to bring a lot of people out for those member meetings.
Get your quorum.
Meetings. Get your quorum. Get a board of directors candidates or fill any positions, and hopefully
beg and plead for owners to be board members.
And hopefully, maybe if you're a lucky community, like some of them are, or actually a lot of them are, we're fortunate and have committees, like the Neighborhood Watch Committee or the Activities Committee.
Right. We'll get to that in a second as far as committee meetings and committee meeting minutes and recording committee meetings. As far as member meetings, very, very unusual for a board of directors to want to record a member meeting. It is still, I believe, in the discretion of the board of directors whether they can record a member meeting. So now let's flip the coin, right? Flip the coin.
Wait, before you throw it.
Go ahead.
Curveball. Yeah, I always throw this in here, and I don't want to interrupt this great pace we have as we run towards committee meeting minutes and recordings. But if you go on Highway 80 east about 2 hours, you're going to pop into Nevada. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the situation was, but when I went and I attended a meeting at a great community up there, everything was recorded. And everything has been recorded at every meeting that I went to. Is there something going on in Nevada? Just a different...
There is. And our law firm does practice in Nevada as well. Jonathan, I find it confusing, though, for our listeners if we do talk about another state's law. But how about to compare and contrast? So, yeah, state law in Nevada does provide that the board meetings must be recorded. Wow.
I wonder if that'll ever happen here.
So that is not the law in California. Let's make that clear, right?
It's not the law.
It's not the law in California.
Yeah, don't use Nevada's laws.
All right.
California.
So I was going to say, I said flip the coin. I meant flip the record. So we're going to flip the record. And in a minute, we're going to talk about owners non-board members recording board meetings. So when we come back, we'll talk about that. But first, when we come out, we're going to talk about committee meeting recordings as well.
Okay.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380. The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Man, I'm glad I just made it back. I've been in the break room. Frank made a killer cup of Joe this morning. It's delicious.
Lucky us.
Lucky us.
Hey, we got a text, and I just wanted to answer this text. It's an interesting question, and the question is, in the substance of this, that our association has quarterly meetings, quarterly board meetings, and it's their understanding that the law requires the board of directors to disclose to requesting owners board meeting minutes within 30 days, within 30 days of the meeting. So the issue is that how can we as a board of directors disclose board meeting minutes within 30 days if we have not approved them, because we're not going to approve them for another 2 months quarterly, how can we comply with the law if the law says we must disclose to requesting owners board meeting minutes within 30 days of the meeting? And the answer is this. The law isn't exactly that. It's a little bit different. So we have the Davis-Sterling Act, Civil Code Section 4950, and it provides that the board of directors can disclose board meeting minutes that are marked as drafts. So rather than going ahead and disclosing board meeting minutes that have been approved, which don't exist yet because the board of directors hasn't actually approved them for another 2 months, board of directors can go ahead and disclose draft board meeting minutes. So the board of directors, within 30 days, they must disclose to requesting owner either the board meeting minutes, Jonathan, the minutes that are draft, or a summary of the minutes. I've never heard of a summary of the minutes, but maybe the board of directors can throw something together that is a summary. But thank you for that text. Excellent. So where were we? We're talking about committee meetings. So we're talking about committee meetings and recording at committee meetings. And so it's a function of the fact that committee meetings must have minutes, and when the board of directors, the committee has decision-making discretion, when they're deciders. Like, what would one be, Jonathan? Like Architectural Review Committee.
That would the ARC.
The ARC. They must have meeting minutes, and those must be disclosed, and so they can record as well. So now we want to finish our topic up today.
Wrap it up
with owners who are recording board meetings with, in essence, the example is this: the board of, and I've actually experienced this, and that is in a board. The meeting's about to begin. Board meetings, everyone's sitting down, right, and getting their seats.
They get the mallet out, trying to get everybody called to order.
Gavel.
I use a mallet.
You really want to keep everyone quiet. And the board notices that an owner appears to be doing something with their electronics. Maybe it was their cell phone. And yes, the owner is actually recording the meeting without the board's authorization. And
kick him out. I point at him and I say, "There's the door. You're out of here, sucker. Do you know penal code? Blah 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 blah." Number.
Yeah, in whether that penal code provision 632 that says you can't record others without their permission, whether that applies is debatable. It is debatable because that penal code, it is for a prohibition on recording others' confidential communications. And so is that a confidential setting for a communication board? And so that's debatable. But regardless, I firmly believe that a board of directors can prohibit owners from recording their meetings. I can.
Absolutely.
It's within the board's power. Well, you say that as an absolute.
Well, it is. It looked like the story that you explained is the member was not fully asking for permission, but
not
they
at
were
all.
Secretly.
They're surreptitiously.
Oh yes, you're out of here. You're out of here. The door's over there. Find your way out, or else I'm going to bring the mallet down there.
Hit the bricks. Well, instead of that's a little drastic to have the owner leave. Instead, you could just have the owner stop the recording, right?
Or
every time we have asked in any meeting that I've been to and asked the owners to stop recording, the owners have stopped recording.
What if you had to do confiscate everybody's recording devices before they came into the meeting? Would you be able to do that? Say, everyone put your cell phones in the bucket. We'll return them at the end of the meeting.
What do you think?
I don't think that would go over well with everyone.
Well, I guess the problem with owners recording board meeting minutes is that it suppresses. It's the board members it's hard to.
They already have enough pressure.
They're going to use it against them, right?
Yeah.
Or put it on the internet.
Do you want your board to be productive, or do you want them to be passive and just, we'll think about it. We're being recorded, so we don't want to say something that we shouldn't.
Yeah, I actually had a mediation a long time ago between an association and owner, and the owner their attorney, they brought in a court reporter. I said, no way. It was hysterical, a stenographer.
Have a great weekend.
Goodbye.